United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do you have any additions or deletions, modifications to the agenda?
Was your mic off?
Thank you. Any additions or deletions, modifications to the agenda?
No.
No. Hearing none, motion to approve.
A motion.
Second.
Tie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Public comment.
All right. No public comment. And then we have approval of the minutes for October 21st for the regular police commission meeting. We'll start with that one.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And approval of the minutes for October, I apologize, did I say 21st or 22nd the first time? Thank you. October 22nd for the special police commission meeting.
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, action items. We don't have any action items. We have no discussion items. We have no department, well, we do have department updates. Anything specific, Chief, for department updates?
Hello. Just got a couple brief thing in department update. So several months ago, we got approved by the board and you guys to purchase laptops for all the cruisers. We finally got them. Todd ran that project and I got them all installed, and actually no problems I know of. With a lot of different IT entities merging together and coordinating them. So Deputy Chief took care of that one. And then I don't know if the Lieutenant wants to talk about it, but we had our mock accreditation assessment about a week ago. So we did pretty good. I don't know how we're making some changes, making some corrections, and we have a few more days to do that, and some policy changes, and just like anything else, some changes. And I think we'll be in pretty good shape, hopefully, for the real assessment come in a couple weeks. I think they start next week, actually. So, well, hopefully that works out for us.
Great job, by the
It is.
way. All the work you guys put in. Kevin, especially you.
Lieutenant, I'm not exaggerating the numbers. He's got to be 300 plus hours this calendar year just on time coming in to redo all the policies, and all of us give instruction, all of us to help him out on it. And it's not a small undertaking by any means. The amount of time and effort for the entire department putting it forward has been pretty substantial. If we do get it, once you have it, it's far less, probably 80% less effort to maintain it. You just have to maintain it. And that's it. We had to do like whole shop changes, from the evidence room to records, policies and dispatch, things we did in the road, cruisers, construction building. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff we got to do over the last 3 years to get this where we're at now. So we got our assessment next month. So that's all I got, unless you guys have any questions about anything. We're all multimillionaires now. So I always bring the budget with me. So just kind of doing an overview on where we're at for the budget. We're at 55% at a little over 7 weeks. So at a little over 7
months.
7 months. That'd be awesome. If it was 7 weeks, that'd be terrible. 7 months, a little over 7 months. Thank you.
You counting down?
Not yet. Not yet. I think if we get this accreditation thing done, hopefully that'll be time to kind of. So this will be my last time up here. Deputy Chief will do December and January, and then LT will do his role starting next month. So this will be my last time up here.
Of like brought balloons or something.
Or eggs. I think it could throw eggs at me.
Yeah, darn it.
So like I said, we're at 55% for a little over 7 months. some of the big things that we can note is our insurance is coming a little higher, healthcare insurance a little higher, so it's a little bit ahead of schedule. Overall, we're behind, like we're doing really well, but we're using a lot of forfeiture to supplement the budget, which is actually helping us reduce. But that's not sustainable at all. So,
Can we explain? I know we've done it before. I know when I was running for my position as trustee, there was misinformation that was provided about forfeiture, like as if that's, you can use forfeiture money as your budget money, when the truth is it's very limited on what you can use it for. And I think there were a lot of people provided, they were confused. They were provided misinformation and there was confusion, so.
if I can just give an overview on it, and we're not hiding from the numbers. In our DOJ fund, we have a big number of $1 million, maybe a little bit more. We just had a drop of when you seize an asset today, it might not be realized in a portion of it into our accounts a year to 3 years, some even go 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a task force officer at DEA since, was it April? Does that sound about right? April? So we're not generating any revenue coming in. That was for a couple of reasons. That officer wanted to come back. We were short-staffed heavily. We needed that person on the road. We have a person we're going to put back there. Government shut down. They can't get him out. We can't get him out there now until he gets his background redone. Well, that lack of seizures coming in is going to pay the price on that $1 million on the end down the road. The $1 million sounds like a huge number. The PD's rich. No, we can't use it for salaries. Mylars, which they actually changed their name to, Mylars is money laundering and asset recovery section. As part of the federal government, they changed it this month to money laundering, narcotics, and forfeiture section. Wow, big name. They've actually, I think I talked to the last commission meeting. They put more restrictions on it. They're trying to get the entire government off of using forfeiture to pay for people's salaries. Well, that's going to hurt us because that's about $140,000 of our budget. And if you take our overtime budget of $162,000, that right there is 3% of our budget. So it doesn't sound like a big number, but we're so on the line and usually over, even with spending that amount of forfeiture. If you really think about it, if we're spending $300,000 this year projected, you take that off the $1 million, and we don't have any revenue coming in, how long is it going to last? Are we going to repeat what happened when I first took this over? We had $78,000. People may not know this, but they actually ran that forfeiture account into the red. They overdrafted on it by $75,000. I don't remember what the number was. Came back in, we're good. It was all in the same calendar year, nothing illegal, nothing wrong. Are we going to repeat that? Because we cannot continue doing this. What's going to happen is when I retire, are they going to replace that? Right now, talking to these gentlemen, I don't think we have the budget next year to cover my replacement. So we'll just shrink the PD again, one less road officer for the island. Instead of having 24, we're at 23 now, we'll go down to 22. We're not going to get the 5% bump that we've had the last 2 years in revenue of a taxable value of houses.
We should be at 24.
Should be at 24. So another problem we see coming down the road, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, is that when I retire, we're going to be at 22, at 24. We have 2 officers that are taking FMLA. They haven't done it yet. One's applying for it right now. That could be weeks, months. And the other one's going to take a couple months, we believe. That puts us back at 20. That's why we pulled the DEA guy officer out in the first place. So now, if they want to, I won't be here. The next administration, Deputy Chief Rozak wants, I would put the DEA spot out there, but now we're shorting the department down to 19. And now you're going to have massive overtime, and how many times, this will be the 3rd time in 5 years we've done this to the staff. Now we're in bad shape. That millage that wasn't endorsed by us, wasn't endorsed by the commission, the township, or the financial department, absolutely hurt us. That absolutely hurt us. So our budget right now is in good shape because we're going to probably spend about $300,000 in forfeiture that'll come off that $1 million. 2.5 years later, we're not going to have that money. if we continue doing this. So that big drop we had a couple of years ago of 800,000, that saved us. That's why I'm so defensive of this funds, because this is all we got. We don't have escrow accounts like other departments in the area. We don't have that. We share millage with the town. We share 2 millages with the township, and the extra money, they take it, but there is no extra money. So I don't know if that
It does.
answered.
I think it's very important. I think this is something that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know about. And I think with the last millage, there was, like I said, I know for a fact, I was not given accurate information. I kind of disregarded it because it didn't seem even plausible. And now that I know what forfeiture, how it's used, I'm glad I disregarded it and didn't find it plausible. But I think the issue is that I think we need to make sure that we really let residents know where we're at with the budget, why that millage was so very important, the work that this particular commission is putting into it, these tremendous amount of work that you yourself and Deputy Chief and Lieutenant have put in, and quite frankly, all of your officers, the amount of overtime that they have all put in.
And our dispatchers, I know.
And I'm sorry.
I know
you're
what you
right.
meant, but yeah,
No,
dispatchers.
all of them. I always include them like that's, and I'm sorry, the dispatchers as well. Everybody in the department. And I can't say enough. And I know that there are people that get angry or bothered when I say the officers are the first responders. Look, I think fire is phenomenal. We just happen to be the department, the police officers are on the road already. So by default, they are first responders. It's not slighting anybody. It's just a fact.
We're already in motion.
Yes.
They're responding. We absolutely depend on the fire department. Great bunch of men and women, and they take over. And our officers, we've had some pretty sticky medicals where we absolutely
Yes,
appreciate
and
their talents and their expertise.
People
So,
don't realize that. I know I didn't realize that. And I think we have to keep emphasizing we're going to be in a situation if we don't correct this where it's going to be a big issue for residents on Groseal.
If I may add to that, the problem with the last millage was this big talk about 50 grand going here and there. That was a game. Because the millage that was put before the public, the commission and the board is going to figure out what to do if there's any extra money. We share the budgets with the township. So you can give us $10 million. We only need 100,000. That money goes to the township. I don't know where that came out that never went back. It always has.
Correct.
And I can show it. I don't know why, but that extra money needs to go in an escrow. But we share those bank accounts, and that was the point of when the last commission said we're going to try to go alone to make ourselves self-funded, and then put it simple, it got hijacked.
I think that's another thing that, and I know that we've been working, I don't know that everybody understands this because study sessions aren't on camera, but they are obviously open meetings, but we've been working pretty hard to develop a plan, and it's really important, and the goal will be to cascade how these millages work, because again, if you're somebody like I was for a period of time where you know this is the right thing to do, you put your vote in and you go from there. If you don't realize, I didn't realize first responders, that police obviously get there first because they're on the road. I didn't realize how the general fund worked and how those general operating millages worked, and the fact that there's a reason that other accounts are able to accrue or have a savings of their millage money, and the police department is not. They aren't a separate budget. They are part of general fund, and I think the commission, we all need to do a better job, I think, and I think we are, of explaining that to people and helping them understand, because I don't think that was done, and I know it wasn't done. So I appreciate you explaining forfeiture, because I think that's very important. That was a big piece of misinformation.
If we didn't have forfeiture, to go back to Mr. Longton's question, so with Mylar's taking away, basically, there's 6,000 PDs that are part of the task force task force positions in the government, different agencies. We're down to 30 in the country. We were one of the 30. We're off of it now. But we're allowed to use our overtime, forfeiture for overtime. So it's kind of swapping one for the other. But that position's 140 grand. Our overtime is 162,000. That's 3% of our budget. So now you got let's say 3% of our budget, plus at DEA positions another 3%. Let's say 6, and then I'm not gonna make the 6-7 joke, but they 6 or 8% added with having a 24th person. We're doing good on our budget right now, but if we didn't have forfeiture, we'd be way over. So it's a test to show how we've been doing this as a township isn't really sustainable without forfeiture.
So
And we don't have revenue coming in.
My concern is always about overtime, because I know
Yeah.
when people are in overtime,
Mhm.
they're tired, they're not as sharp, and that's when mistakes can happen. So you want to fresh officers whenever you can. And yeah, I know that maybe you get a nice paycheck every now and then, but it's not as good for the public if we have tired people on the road.
There's this myth out there that if we didn't have 12s, we wouldn't have this issue. Yeah, we do pay a little bit more for 12s. It's not a significant amount for the big budget. But if you don't have enough staffing, you're still here for 16. You still got to fill the holes. It doesn't matter. That's what you hear a lot of the people come up here, and I appreciate their comments. I understand, but you have to fill 24 hours with 2 officers, regardless of how the math is. You use 6 officers, you use 4. You still have to fill the hole, and a dispatcher. So the 12s is what they want. It gives them more days off, but they're not getting the days off. I think one of our sergeants has done, I don't know how many days in a row.
Well over a week straight.
Week straight on 12s. On 12s a week straight.
And it's going to burn that officer out for sure.
I think one of the problems we have is, this goes back to one of our discussions, is this is, they're not going to like me saying this, I don't think we're that competitive a department. We have 1 person apply. The prior hire before that, we had 6, and 5 of them, no, we're not hiring them. So we got really lucky that these are, they knew some of the officers here. So that's 2 hires in a row. We basically have 1 applicant. We would have had more, but laterals is a big thing in law enforcement, and we don't do it. It costs more money. We don't have the funds to draw people in. I've heard people come up here and say, it doesn't matter what you pay them, they'll still take the job. You're right. We'll get officers from everywhere. They're going to stay for 2 years and they're going to leave. One of my friends, he got sponsored by another agency, put through the academy. Now he's applying to a better agency. He worked there not even 6 months, and he's jumping ship already. These guys did their career here. We have career dispatchers and officers. They know the names. They know the streets. They know situations. They know how it is on midnights here. Doug Carmack gets hired here for 7 months. I could care less about this place, and then they're going to go. All right, everyone hired, they'll go. I care about it deeply. I'm just saying it as an example, but so
And we want experienced people. We don't want to be a training department.
That's what we're going to be a training department, because I worry about things. But I don't want to get, that's politics. I don't want to get into that.
It's really not. You know what? It's
We have
important.
a problem. We have a problem.
Right, and I'm going to say this because a comment was made. This wasn't just from a board member, but from other people, that, well, Margaret behaves like she's the union steward for the police department. No, Margaret doesn't. You know what Margaret behaves like? A resident of Groseal, and somebody who is sitting in the position she's in because she was voted into that place. And it is critical to me to make sure that we are all as safe as we possibly can be. And in my opinion, and not just opinion, we could pull up data to prove this. If we don't have the right people and enough people, we will not maintain the safety of Groseal. People can say all they want to, oh, they don't have enough to do. You have no idea what they do. So until you understand that,
That's a good
flippant
thing.
comments like that don't help anybody. It's so important that we all seriously start to listen and pay attention to the fact that we are not competitive and that we do have to, the township and the PD have to work together to make sure that there's the proper amount of give and take and that we're all being collaborative. That's my point of view, and I'm no union steward.
Deputy Chief and myself, I think it was 2 days ago, yesterday, we met with 4 state representatives, and was that yesterday? And and a whole bunch of fire administrators and police administrators for downriver. The conversation is, if I can steal him to come to our PD, I'm going to steal him. I'm going to steal her to come to my PD. I'm going to give them the trinkets of what they want, which is benefits and money. Now you guys are short, so you need to somehow find a steal from them. There's not enough qualified applicants. All these applicants are being sponsored through the academies are all jumping ship. Not all of them, that's an exaggeration. It's happening. I shouldn't say all of them.
It's a lot. The
I shouldn't say
DCC, DMA have talked about it, and the attendees to that particular meeting are township supervisors, are mayors of downriver, including Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. And I watched a meeting where Taylor and Dearborn Heights, and while they were good-natured about this, each had taken a chief from the other. Each had taken road patrol from the other. And then all the Woodhaven chimes in and Taylor chimes in with them, and because they had all taken people from fire and PD. So this is something that, again, you're right, we don't need to get into this, but we do.
The budget,
really
to go
do.
back to Mr. Longton question, the budget, we're in a good place right now for this year. We're using forfeiture, but down the road, forecasting, it's not there. You can't budget that far out when you know you don't have the revenue to come in. I could put numbers on paper all day long, and then you use forfeiture to go, look, we made it, we're within a certain number. It's all false, because the revenue is offset by, forfeiture is there to use, but it's not gonna keep us afloat at this current rate, but
And it's not a guaranteed revenue stream,
it's not.
especially when you don't have somebody in that agency.
We just had
currently.
170,000, 60,000 drop in. We're like, wow, that was awesome. But we know that means we have less coming in the future. You only have so many pockets of money coming in, and then every time one comes in, it means there's no new ones coming in. So when they drop, it means the ones that were seized 2 or 3 years ago, there's no more left. We probably got about another 150,000 maybe in drops coming in. That's it.
That's it, and we don't have anybody in that position
No.
to create more for those.
Well, they'll
jobs to
have
happen.
they're going to be put into a pickle me leaving. I'm not trying to. But so now, do you want to have 20 or 19 in the building? And we've got a DA person out there. So I also wanted to try to take as much time as I could when I'm up here for my last time. That was it.
We have all night, all night.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep talking. All right. I'm done.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Monthly reports.
Good evening. I had a couple things I wanted to add when the chief was talking. The three of us have been discussing the issues that are coming down the road here shortly. Staffing shortages. We know we don't have the potential to fill our platoons, especially when you have multiple people going off on FMLA. So there's been some pretty deep discussions on how we're going to handle it. Because we're dealing with budgetary issues and hiring, we know that that's not a possibility right now. So how are we going to handle that? How are we going to do that? I know we've all discussed, or the board or the commission's discussed, burnout. We're looking at it every day. I worry about it every day. When guys are working 6, 7, 12-hour shifts in a row, that's a problem. It's a problem. Safety for us is huge. These guys are out there doing their job, and then they're expected to make split-second decisions on hardly any sleep. It's not only bad for their health, bad for the family, it's bad for anybody everything that's involved in it. So I just wanted to reiterate that. We know it's an issue. I appreciate the commission, addressing the financial issues that we're coming across and also the staffing issues that are coming. So I think together with educating the public, educating the community here, and explaining to them this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is how it's funded, and if you want to have the level of service and maintain that, this is what we're going to need to do. So before I went into my monthly report, I just wanted to go into that, okay? So on to October. Can't believe that we're in November, but for October 2025, Grosseto Police Department responded to 563 calls for service. Dispatch received 863 incoming calls and 132 911 calls. Our officers remained active and visible on the streets, conducting 66 traffic stops, resulting in 10 citations, 8 notices to appear, 54 verbal warnings, which I'm really big on, and 23 security notices. Officers also completed 10 welfare checks, made 2 warrant arrests, and 1 OWI, which is operating while intoxicated. During the month, officers completed 18 reports, 14 traffic crashes, 1 car deer, which they're still way down. We're very happy about that. Records Department processed 12 FOIA requests along with ongoing records retention and accreditation responsibilities that support accuracy and accountability. We have been working not only with every part of the police department for accreditation and tuning everything up and making sure that it falls under the standards. Records was a huge project. Celeste has been doing a fantastic job. Everybody involved. We're all doing our part in it, but there's been a lot of work that's gone into that. The Detective Bureau, 29 cases were assigned, 27 were closed, 2 are still under investigation for the month of October. Just to explain that, every single case goes through the Detective Bureau now. And the reason that we do that, doesn't matter what it is, we want another set of eyes on it for accuracy. So any report that's generated goes through the DB. It's not closed until they look at it, which is actually through me and then the detectives. Animal control, I had a discrepancy of 1 in here. I had 44 calls. It was actually 45. That's aiding in both domestic, for both domestic pets and wildlife. Again, we'd like to thank the community for their continued support as we remain focused on safety and service. If I could just touch on the ACO report, I wanted to give some of the numbers. Julie being ACO and ordinance. Her calls to date for this year are 368. Surrender dogs 32, return to owner 26, adopted 7. So our actual ratio for the adoption of animals that she takes in is really high. It's almost, I'm going to say almost perfect. Very rarely do we have to euthanize an animal. If that's the case, either it's dangerous or it's sick. Calls for ordinance year-to-date 724. So between ACO and ordinance, she's a very busy lady. Reserve report for October. They logged 76 hours. I know they did a lot of training this month. We appreciate that. They come in, they volunteer. They're volunteering their own time. So not only are they volunteering for special events, they're also having to come in on nights for first aid, CPR, PPCT, which is pressure points and control tactics. So not only are they doing their required hours, but on top of that, they're coming in for training. So, and we are probably, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong on this, we're probably one of the only departments that has a reserve program. that has such a high training protocol or procedure for our reserves. Right. It is insurance, but I mean, when you look across the board and you look at how other departments are running the reserve program, I would probably say we're one of the best at doing that for training. But 76 hours worked. They did their vacation checks this year, or this month. Traffic safety for the walk, bike to school. There was no issues with that. Reserve officers assist with traffic control during the high school homecoming parade. On the 21st, they participate in trunk or treat events at the municipal airport. On the 25th, provide traffic control on Macomb for the Halloween parade. And then on the 31st, reserve officers assist road patrol with the Halloween night detail. It's always nice to have those extra cars out on the street and being visible. And coming in November, the annual Turkey Trot. That's on November 27th. The 1K starts at 8:30 and the 5K starts at 9 a.m. So they'll be working the intersections for safety. And that is all I have unless you have questions for me.
Any questions? No.
Hopefully I covered it well.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Thank you.
You, ma'am. Liaison report.
This will be a fast one. I just want to remind everybody how dark it gets out as early as it does, and I think, and I've seen it a lot. I know there was an accident as well with a pedestrian. I actually saw it. I didn't witness it actually happen, but within probably a few minutes of it happening. So I just want to remind everybody, you've got to have either light clothing, reflective clothing. Don't assume that because you have, a yellow lab that you can wear dark clothes just because I can see your dog. It just, it's not going to work out well for people, and it's not fair to the drivers either. It's just really important. Just a big fat reminder, please wear something reflective, have a flashlight, have something on you that's, flashing in general. And that's it for me. No, you don't like that?
No, I was thinking also with fall colors, your fall jacket that blends in with the fall colors behind don't help either. So the,
Right.
the light yellow that blends in with the leaves that have changed behind you, or the tall grass growing, does not help anybody seeing you. Just because it's a lighter color, you blend in. You're in camouflage essentially.
Well, this person was in a camo jacket and she had a cream lab, right? Okay, so we saw the lab, but you didn't know the lab was attached to a human being.
Well, I'm assuming she was coming out of the woods from hunting the ducks. So, I mean, she.
No, she was on Park Lane, but
Okay.
just saying.
No, I
Just a
yes.
reminder.
I agree with you, because there needs reflective is the helpful.
It's critical.
Because you can't see these people. All right. Anything else from anybody?
I appreciate the stop lines being painted on Church at Park Lane.
Yes, those are helpful.
Very helpful. It's a good reminder.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the reports?
A motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Seeing no public, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're off.